Wait, let me ask you something very honestly. Do you understand English, but when it's time to speak, your mind goes completely blank?
Oh, yes, that painful moment. You understand everything, but your mouth just says nothing.
Exactly. Movies, podcasts, YouTube, no problem at all. But one simple question like, "So, how are you?" And suddenly, panic.
Yes, your heart beats faster, your brain is screaming, I know this, but the words are hiding.
And you start thinking, what is wrong with me? Why can I understand English, but I can't speak English?
John, listen, you are not broken, and you are definitely not stupid.
That's good to hear, Emily, because sometimes it really feels like my English just disappears when people look at me.
That's very normal. And today, we are going to talk about exactly this problem, the most common problem for English learners in the world.
So if you're listening right now and thinking, yes, that's me, please don't leave. This episode is for you.
Yes, stay with us, because by the end of this conversation, you will understand why this happens and, more importantly, what you can do about it.
Emily, let's say it clearly. This problem has a name.
Yes, it's not a vocabulary problem. It's not a grammar problem.
It's a speaking confidence problem.
Exactly. Your English is already in your head, but there is a wall between your head and your mouth.
And today, we're not here to teach big, difficult grammar. We're here to help people break that wall.
Step by step, slowly, naturally.
Before we go deeper, let's do something important.
Yes, quick reminder. If you're learning with us and enjoying this conversation, please like this episode and subscribe to the channel.
It really helps more learners find us and learn English without fear.
Thank you so much. Okay, John, are you ready to be honest?
A little scared, but yes, I'm ready.
Good. Then let me ask you this. When someone speaks to you in English, what is the first thing you think?
Honestly, I think don't make a mistake. Don't sound stupid. Please don't ask me another question.
That fear, right there, that is the real enemy.
So you're saying my problem is not English, my problem is fear.
Exactly, John. And in the next part, we're going to show you how to start removing that fear, little by little.
Okay, now I'm curious and honestly a little hopeful.
Good. That means the journey has already started.
Okay, Emily, let's talk about the real problem. Why does my brain freeze, even when I know the words?
Good question, John. And this answer will surprise you. It's not because you're bad at English.
Really? Because it feels like I'm bad.
I know, but listen carefully. Your brain has two very different jobs.
Two jobs?
Yes, job number one is understanding. Job number two is producing speech.
So listening and speaking are not the same thing?
Exactly. Understanding is passive, speaking is active.
That explains a lot, because listening feels easy, but speaking feels like climbing a mountain.
Perfect comparison. When you listen, your brain is relaxed. When you speak, your brain is under pressure
Pressure from where?
from thinking too much. Grammar, pronunciation, vocabulary, people watching you, fear of mistakes.
Ah, yes. My brain tries to do everything at once and then crash.
Exactly, John. Your brain overloads, and instead of helping you, it freezes to protect you.
Protect me? That sounds funny.
But it's true. Your brain thinks speaking English is dangerous, so it chooses silence.
Wow. So my brain is not my enemy, it's just confused.
Perfectly said. Your brain doesn't know yet that English speaking is safe.
So how do we teach it that it's safe?
By removing pressure, by simplifying the process, by training reactions, not perfection.
That already feels lighter, because I always try to speak perfect English.
That's the trap. Perfection kills fluency.
Say that again? Slowly?
Perfection kills fluency.
Oof, that hurts, but it's true.
John, let me ask you something. When you speak your native language, do you think about grammar?
No, never.
Do you think about sentence structure?
No, the words just come out.
Exactly. That's because your brain has patterns, not rules.
Patterns, like ready-made roads.
Yes, but in English, most learners only study rules, not patterns.
So when I try to speak, I'm building the road while driving.
Perfect image. And that's stressful.
So the freeze happens because I'm translating, checking grammar, and worrying all at once.
Exactly. Too many tabs open in your brain.
No wonder it crashes.
Yes, that's why fluent speakers sound relaxed. They're not building sentences, they're using stored patterns.
This makes so much sense now. So the goal is not think faster, but think less.
Exactly, John. Less thinking, more reacting.
Like muscle memory.
Yes, speaking is a physical skill. Your mouth, your tongue, your timing,
So reading grammar books won't fix speaking.
they help understanding, but speaking needs a different type of training.
Okay, so now I understand the why my brain freezes because it's overloaded.
Yes, and in the next part, we'll talk about how to retrain your brain so it stops freezing and starts responding naturally.
I'm ready. And honestly, I feel less ashamed already.
Good, because this problem is not personal, it's neurological.
That word sounds smart.
And the solution is practical, simple, and daily.
All right, let's move to the solution.
All right. Emily, now I understand why my brain freezes, but the real question is, how do I fix it?
Good, because this is where most people fail, John. They understand the problem, but they train the wrong way.
Wrong way? You mean more grammar?
Exactly. They think the solution is more rules, but rules don't create reactions.
That hurts, because my notebook is full of rules.
I know, but let me tell you something important. Your brain learns speaking the same way it learned walking.
Walking?
Yes, nobody explained grammar to you. You fell, you stood up, you tried again.
True. And nobody corrected my posture every second.
Exactly. But with English, you correct yourself while speaking.
Which completely kills the flow.
Yes. So step one is this, John. Stop correcting yourself mid-sentence.
That feels dangerous.
It feels dangerous, but it's actually freedom.
Okay, so no self-interruption.
Right. Now, step two, we train reaction speed, not vocabulary size.
What does that mean exactly?
It means this. Instead of learning new words, you recycle simple words until they come out automatically.
So like, I think, I feel, I don't know.
Perfect examples. Simple but powerful.
I always thought those were too basic.
That's another trap. Fluent speakers sound simple, not smart.
Wow, that changes how I see English.
Good. Now here's the key exercise, John. Active listening.
Not just watching videos.
No. Active listening means you pause, you repeat, you copy the rhythm.
Like shadowing?
Exactly. You hear a sentence and you repeat it immediately without thinking.
Even if it's not perfect?
Especially if it's not perfect. Perfection is not the goal. Reaction is.
This actually sounds doable.
Because it is. 5 minutes a day, every day, does more than 2 hours once a week.
Consistency over intensity.
Yes, your brain loves repetition, not pressure.
So basically, I need to create English habits, not English stress.
Beautifully said. Another important thing, John.
It's okay. Go on.
You need an English mode, a short daily time where you don't translate at all.
Even if my sentences are broken?
Especially then. Broken English, spoken confidently, is better than perfect English stuck in your head.
That line should be on a poster.
Maybe someday. But listen, your brain needs proof that speaking English doesn't end badly.
So, small wins.
Exactly. Simple sentences spoken out loud every day.
I can feel it. This approach removes fear.
That's the point. When fear leaves, fluency enters.
So let me check if I got this right. Stop self-correction, use simple patterns, practice active listening, and speak daily without translating.
Perfect summary, John. And in the next part, we'll talk about how routines and balance make this process stick for life.
I'm excited for that, because motivation alone never lasted for me.
Exactly. And that's why routines matter.
Okay, Emily. Last time you said something important. Motivation doesn't last.
Yes, John. Motivation is emotional, but routines are mechanical.
Mechanical? That sounds a little boring.
Boring is good. Boring means reliable.
So you're saying if English feels exciting only sometimes, I'll fail?
Exactly. Because life is not always exciting.
That hurts again.
Sorry, but this is where people quit. They wait to feel ready.
And that day never comes.
Never. So instead, we build a tiny routine.
Tiny sounds good. My brain likes tiny.
Good, because your brain hates pressure. Now listen carefully, John. Your routine needs only 3 parts.
Only 3? I expected like 10.
No. Simple routines survive. Complex ones die.
Okay, what's part 1?
Part 1 is input. Listening.
Like podcasts, videos.
Yes, but short. 5 minutes. Same content every day.
Same content? Won't that be boring?
Maybe, but repetition creates comfort. Comfort creates confidence.
So my brain starts recognizing patterns.
Exactly. Now part 2, output.
Speaking.
Yes, immediately after listening, you repeat, you summarize, you talk to yourself.
Even if I sound bad?
Especially then, bad English spoken daily turns into good English automatically.
That's comforting.
Good. Now part 3, the most forgotten part.
Rest?
Close. Reflection.
Reflection?
Yes, just one question. What was easy today?
Not what was wrong?
No, your brain already knows what's wrong. We train it to notice progress.
So I end the session feeling successful.
Exactly. That's how habits stick.
This sounds very different from school.
Because school trains memory, not fluency.
So let me see. 5 minutes listening, 5 minutes speaking, 1 minute reflection.
Perfect routine. 11 minutes a day.
I spend more time scrolling.
Everyone does. Now, one more rule, John. Very important.
I'm listening.
Never skip 2 days in a row.
1 day is okay?
Life happens, but 2 days creates a break, and breaks kill routines.
That rule feels realistic.
Good, because realistic plans survive real life.
I like this approach. No pressure, no perfection.
That's the secret. English should fit into your life, not fight it.
So fluency is not about talent.
It's about systems.
Wow, that changes everything.
And in the next part, we'll talk about confidence. How to sound confident even when your English is not perfect.
That's what everyone wants.
Exactly, because confidence comes before fluency, not after.
Okay, Emily. We talked about routines, practice, mistakes, but let's be honest.
Go on, John.
Sometimes my English is okay, but I still sound nervous.
Yes, that's very common.
My voice becomes small, fast, and shaky.
That's not an English problem. That's a confidence signal.
So confidence is not about perfect grammar?
No, confidence is about how you speak, not what you say.
Interesting.
Let me ask you something, John. When you speak your native language, do you think about grammar?
Never.
Exactly. You think about the message. Confidence comes from focus.
So where should my focus be?
3 things. Very simple.
I like simple.
First, slow down.
Slow down?
Yes, speaking slowly sounds confident. Speaking fast sounds nervous.
But I thought fast English means fluent.
That's a myth. Clear English beats fast English.
So pauses are okay?
Not just okay, they are powerful.
That explains the dots.
Exactly. Second, use simple sentences.
Not long, complicated ones?
No, simple sentences sound strong. Complicated sentences sound unsure.
Wow, school taught us the opposite.
School teaches tests. Life teaches communication.
And the third thing?
Tone, your voice tone.
How do I control that?
Smile a little when you speak, even on the phone.
People can hear a smile?
Yes, your voice becomes warmer, more relaxed.
Let me try. Hello, Emily.
See? Much better already.
This feels doable.
That's the goal. Confidence should feel accessible.
So confidence comes from habits, not talent.
Exactly. Daily balance matters.
Balance?
Yes, listen a little, speak a little, rest a little.
No burnout.
No guilt, no pressure.
I like that. English without fear.
That's when real progress starts.
So let me summarize. Slow down, simple sentences, friendly tone, daily routine, mistakes are okay.
Perfect summary, John.
And one last thing.
Yes?
If someone understands English but can't speak yet, are they failing?
Not at all. They are halfway there.
That's encouraging.
Very. Understanding is the foundation. Speaking is just the next step.
So to everyone listening,
You are not broken. You are learning.
speak imperfectly, but speak daily.
And confidence will follow.
Thank you, Emily. This series changed how I see English.
Thank you, John. And thank you to everyone listening.
Don't forget to practice today, even 5 minutes.
Yes, your English voice is already inside you.
You just need to let it out.
See you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, and keep speaking.